changed my life forever. And that right now I'm doing something that I never expect before.
Hello, hello. I'm so happy today. I have a wonderful host today. I was following him and I love the thing that he's doing because he's using his English first. He's not an English native speaker. And second, because he's doing something important for the community, for the world with all his work. And this is Fred Silva. He's the behind the scenes of Silva Cast. So welcome, Fred. I'm so happy to have you here.
Linda, I'm so happy to be here also. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's an honor for me to be interviewed by you, so it's my pleasure, and let's do it.
Okay, that's good. So first, I'm going to split this interview first in your personal life because I want to know who's that person behind the scenes, or behind the microphone. Um, so tell me a little bit first about you, your story, and so we can start with that.
Okay, let's do it. Well, I'm Fred Silva. I'm from Brazil. I live in Brazil, and I've never been abroad. I never traveled outside of Brazil yet. So the English I have is just I just learn and use on the internet. So I don't have the chance to use English in a daily life, in a real life. But on the internet, I use it every day. And why I decided to study English? Maybe you asked me that. The reason I decided to start to study English was because I have a business. I am a digital marketer. So I had clients in Brazil. I was working here in Brazil. But my dream was to have an international company and have, clients outside of Brazil. So I was like obsessed about this. And then I decided to start to study English because I thought, okay, English is a international language. If I want to get clients outside of Brazil, I need to speak English. So I decided to start to study English. But before do that, I started to study Spanish because I thought Spanish is more easy to learn. And I need to get motivated to do, because if I try to learn and I don't get what I want, I would be frustrated. So I decided to start to study Spanish. And in 2 months, I was speaking Spanish very well because, I was passionate about
Wow,
the language. Yeah. And I
two
started to
months is
record
nothing.
videos. Sorry?
2 months is nothing. So 2 months to learn a new language. Wow, impressive.
Yeah. No, because Spanish is so close to Portuguese. And I made a good friends from Mexico and from other countries in Latin America. So I noticed that, wow, it's not a big of deal. To learn a language is kind of, it's a normal thing and it's exciting. So I start to record videos, start to speak every day. And then I said, now it's time to start to study English. So I decided to start to study English. I bought a online course and I start to be in a community. And then I start to speak on a daily basis. And I start to get clients outside of Brazil. And then things start to happen the way I want. So I wanted. So this is, in a nutshell, it's a little bit about my story.
Okay, but I'm going back a little bit. So, how old were
Okay.
you when you started learning Spanish?
I was 35, I think. It was
Okay,
in 2017, I think. Yeah,
okay,
something like that. About 35 years old.
okay, wow. So you encourage Spanish speakers to learn Portuguese? Do you think will be easier? Like
It
two
is
months?
actually. I was in a community on WhatsApp that I helped them with Portuguese and they helped me with Spanish. So
Wow.
and I made good friends there. So I think
Oh, that's
when
great.
you yeah
That's great. Yeah.
when you use the language just to communicate yourself with other people, and just make friends and just speak and just have fun, I think it's more easy to learn because you don't have a
Absolutely.
pressure on you. So
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
Spanish. really helped me to start to study English as well.
And that's good, because even if it's very similar than your main language, it's a challenge. And it's a challenge
It
because you
is.
need to spend time. Your mindset need to be very clear. So where are you going? And that's the problem. Like sometimes say, yeah, like I studied Italian, and people said, oh yes, it's so easy because it's very close to the Spanish. And I said, yes, it is, but also you really need to make the time and to make the effort and to practice. And one thing is to listen, and another thing is to speak.
Exactly. Totally different.
Yeah, that's the challenge part. I think so.
Yeah,
I'm
but I
still
think
I'm
that
still
they
struggling with the speaking part with Italian.
yeah, but I think what you are doing now, you are interviewing people on the internet, you are creating content. I think it's one of the best ways to learn the language, because to use the language to speak. Because with me, at the beginning when I just started to study Spanish, my Spanish was broke. It was not, it was not good. But I decided to start to record videos in Spanish just for fun, just to see how it looks like. And the first feedback I received was amazing. A guy from Mexico said, Fred, your Spanish is good. Keep doing what you are doing, and I can
Yes.
help you to improve. So I know that guy was so nice with me. My Spanish was not that good, but that compliment was a spark to start to speak Spanish more and more and more. And this is the reason in 2 months I was speaking, not perfectly, of course, but I was speaking in a good way, and I was receiving good compliments about my
Yeah,
Spanish.
and
So
that's the power of proximity, no? I
exactly,
love
exactly.
that part of community, because when you engage, you really engage with the community, you start receiving feedback, and it's important, and that's the way that you are growing. You don't know when, but at some point you said, oh my goodness, I was here and I'm here now. So that's great. Okay, and now what about the English? So did you have, I think at school you took classes, English classes, yes? The high school or
Yeah.
elementary, I don't know how is the education in Brazil.
Well, it's so poor, the education here, especially when it comes to English, because you have English classes, in the secondary school, and of course in the how can I say, in the second
High
grade
school,
and
yes.
high school, yeah. But you you just you just learn the verb to be. It's just very, very, very poor. So I don't say that I started to study English at that time, because it was not just a few words, or just
Yes.
the verb to be. We didn't have any chance to talk or form phrases in English. It's almost nothing.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
talking about public schools in Brazil, but because in private schools you can have a good education. We have bilingual schools here, so it's so different. But in public schools here, English is nothing.
Yeah. So you start, so after you were in the university, after university, when you decided, okay,
Yeah,
now I'm going to do English. So tell
yeah.
us.
During the university, I also study English, but it was not a big of a deal. I
Mhm.
didn't learn anything important. Uh, I I I don't like to study English at schools, because I don't think this works. The internet, for me, it's the best place to learn, because you can make your time, you can study in your pace, and you have so much more opportunities. You have so much more resources to study and improve your English. So for me right now, everybody can speak English. Those that don't speak English is because they don't want, they don't have the courage, they don't have the motivation. Because everybody, if you want to speak English, you can.
Yes,
There is no
absolutely.
excuses now. You can't say, I can't speak English, I can't study, because you have everything on the internet. You have a
Yeah,
lot of
all the
things,
resources.
free resources. by the
And
way.
also, it's not about the resources. It's about to be resourceful. Yes, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So what challenges did you, so did you take any class? You didn't take any class, even online, or yes? So you took some.
Online,
Oh, okay.
I have a great teacher since 2019. That's called Teacher Tiffany. I also interview her for my podcast. She's the teacher that unlocked my English, because before studying with her, I was shy. I was not able to talk. But with her, I start to gain more confidence. I start to, gain more vocabulary and everything. So, and she is the reason I start to do a podcast, because when I was in an interview with her, she interviewed me for 20 minutes in a live class, which we had almost 2,000 people online
Oh my
watching us.
goodness! Wow.
The first time I was, in behind the microphone was for almost 2,000 people. So
Wow.
after that day, I noticed that, wow, it's amazing to be here. People saying good things about you. And I got like, well, I should have a podcast or something like that, because I want to encourage more people to speak, because I know people are afraid. I know people are so shy. But if I can do it, everybody can. Because
Yeah.
I am a really shy person, and this is the reason I struggle with English for a long time, because I'm so shy. After I switch my mind and start to work on this, I start to perform better in my English.
And what do you think were your biggest challenges?
For sure, confidence.
Okay.
It was not
Yeah.
about vocabulary. It was not about my accent or something, but confidence. Before I met teacher Tiffany, I was not confident. I was very shy to speak in front of people. But after I developed this skill, everything started to get better, because confidence, in my opinion, confidence is one of the most important things to speak a language. It doesn't matter if it's English, Portuguese, Spanish, or whatever. If you don't have confidence, it's so hard to speak, because I always say my confidence is so much better than my English. So sometimes I got like, wow,
I
my
love that.
vocabulary is poor. I don't know. I don't know a lot of expressions, or I don't use it, but I'm confident. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident when I'm speaking. And I think this catch the attention of a lot of people. When they look at me, they think, okay, Fred is doing a good job with his English, but it's because of the confidence, I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you point two things that I love. One, it's about coaching. So sometimes when you really get one person that can coach you, so that's powerful, because it's not only about the English. It's the English, yes, of course. We need vocabulary, yes. We need grammar, yes. We need prosody. We need everything regarding the language, but also we need confidence. We need to start going outside. And the second point is, yes, when you go into the pool, so when you don't know to swim and you just jump into the pool, and your coach did that, yes. So she put you in front
Help
of
you
two,
to
yes,
give you
yes.
directions and something like that.
Okay, did you prepare before, not before that live, before, like with doing recordings, posting stuff in the group or something that help you?
Exactly. I start to help other people in the community. I start to encourage them to record videos, to record audios, to participate in challenges, because I'm one person that I love challenges. If you give me a challenge, I will be there. So
Okay.
I start to do this type of things with students in Tiffany's community, and I noticed that when I encourage them to do and they do, they start to get better. For example, in that community, there was a lady from Spain. She was, I think, in her 60s. She was retired. She was not she didn't need to study English, but she was there trying to learn. And one day I said to her, why you don't start to record videos to improve your English, your confidence? And she said, no, I can't do it. I'm shy. I start to do it. And every day I was like pushing her, and she started to record. And in a few weeks, she was speaking very, very well. So, and that was the proof that I love to, I love to encourage people. I think I found my why. This is why the thing that I want to do, encourage people to become better, to become a better person, a better English speaker. So, and then I start to do it more and more and more. And this was before the interview. So I was just doing that, something that I liked, and I love to see people progressing, evolving. And then I had the opportunity to participate in the interview that I mentioned.
Great. Yes. Okay. So now we are going to go to the second part, and it's about business, about the podcast. I love the podcast, and
thank you.
I love everything that you are doing here. So because you are using your English to do something else and something for other people. So the idea start now. I know from Tiffany. Yes, from that interview, and then what happened?
Yeah. She didn't said, Fred. She didn't said, Fred, do a podcast. I noticed during the interview that I love to encourage people, and when I receive that kind of feedback, people saying, "Oh, Fred, you speak very well. Fred, I got so motivated now. I will start to study now because I saw you speaking." So I got like, wow, this is a good thing. And then I start to think about this. And in a few months, I was starting the interviews. And for me, it has been doing a great experience, because every day it's a new challenge. Every person that I interview is a new challenge. Some of them like you, I never saw, I never met before. Some of them are my friends. So I have challenges every day, and I think this is a thing that drives me. I love to be challenged. I love to talk to people. I love to interact with people, and when I'm doing that, I'm happy because I'm helping people. I'm encouraging people. I am, to motivating them and inspire them, and at the same time, I'm learning so much. I'm learning a lot. Every episode, I learn new vocabulary, new expressions, because I don't know if you noticed, but I put those expressions on screen, and I receive good feedbacks about that, because if it helps me, I think it will help other people. When you give something to others, automatically you are taking something else back. And I think this is the funny thing about have a podcast and about expose myself on YouTube and do this job that I'm doing, because I know I'm helping, but I know I'm learning. I'm taking a lot of good things from those interviews.
Yes, and I love about the idioms, and I was thinking probably that's when you read something, when you listen something, probably you pay more attention to idioms, yes. And vocabulary.
For sure.
Yes. I was figuring that, and I said I love that. So because really, it's not only watching the interview; it's just learning something else, and that's great. It's
because I have a problem. I think sometimes I speak so much. I noticed that all the episodes have like 1 hour long. So I thought like people won't be here watching me and in my interviewer for 1 hour, and I don't like they waste their time. I want they learn something. And I noticed that when I'm interviewing natives English, natives from America or other place, they speak about, they use a lot of idioms, they use a lot of phrasal verbs and everything. So I noticed, wow, this is interesting. I will start to put this on screen and let's see what happens. and people love it. I think this is
Yes,
one of
I
the
do. I
highest
did. I
point.
learned some that I said, oh, because the most important thing when you learn is like you are going to use it. So I have a secret. And usually at the end of the night, I have this arm is full of notes. And it's because
Oh,
every time that I hear something new, I just put it here because I want to practice during the day. So yeah, and sometimes I go to appointments and people look at my arms and I said, okay, I don't have any tattoos like you. I don't like tattoos either. But is it? Oh my goodness! I'm sorry about that. That's the way that I learned English using
this
my
is
body.
interesting because you are saying that you are ready to learn during your whole day. If you learn something new, you take note. Because sometimes we learn, but we don't have the chance to write it down. So we forget because our mind doesn't work the way we want. It's normal to forget
Yes.
things. I like your strategy.
Yeah.
I will start to
Uh,
use this strategy also.
that's good. I know so many tips. I love tips. So because I think that's the best way to learn. You have another thing that I love from your podcast, and it's pronunciation. So, and I think you love pronunciation. Tell me more
I
about
love
that.
it. I love it. When I start to do the podcast in the beginning of the year, I start on January 1st, and I start to interview people from all over the world, natives, non-natives, and I start to when you we I watch myself, in the video, I start to pay attention in my mistakes and everything. So I start to notice that wow, I need to work in my pronunciation because uh, a few words, for example, the word world, it was impossible to pronounce it. And I don't know why, but I spoke that word during the podcast 10 times or more.
Okay.
And every time I use it, I got like, oh, this is not right, this is not good. And then I said to myself, I need to work in my pronunciation. I don't because I'm exposing myself. I need to improve. I need to show the other people that my English is good enough to help them. And then I start to look for some course or something to help me. And then I found, of course, I know Hadar for a long time. I was just waiting for a chance to be her student in this aspect because I have a thing with me. I like to study with the best people. If I found the best English teacher in pronunciation, I want to study with that person because I want to challenge myself to be the best. So I start a course of pronunciation because I want to master my pronunciation. Of course, it's not overnight. You need to work so much in your pronunciation, but I start to improve my pronunciation, and then I start to use this like I, I'm learning something. I want to help other people with the same. So I start to use to and as I mentioned, I love challenges. So I start to doing in my YouTube channel pronunciation challenges almost every day, not every day, but I start to go live and to training my speech and then to training my pronunciation and help other people to do the same. So I
Yes,
I
and
start to use this.
absolutely something that is very true is like when you teach something, once you learn something, if you teach, so it's going to stick on your head. So you will never
Yeah,
forget. And
for
that's
sure.
that's yeah, absolutely.
I think the
Hey,
same. I think everybody should teach somebody what you are learning, just to practice, because as you mentioned, you will retain more information.
what are the more challenging sounds for Portuguese, for Brazilian people, for Portuguese people that speaks Portuguese?
Oh, for sure, it's the T8.
The
Uh,
TH.
Yeah, for me, it was not this sound, but for most people in Brazil, it's the T8 because we don't have it in Portuguese. And it's really, really weird to put your tongue between the teeth like this.
Hmm.
It's weird in Brazil, the first time I start to training this sound, my wife saw and she got,
I heard
she
that.
had fun of me because of that. because it's really fun the way you speak. But for me was the cluster uh, R and L, like in world, girl.
Yeah.
It's hard. For me, it's hard. But for
Okay, yeah,
Brazilians, for sure, is a T8 for sure,
that's
100%.
fun. And now you're talking one big point. What about at home? So you have a kid, like he's 10 years old right now, Samuel?
Yeah, my son is
Yeah,
11
11?
years old
Yes.
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
Do
have
you
a
speak
little one
English
in the
with them?
belly.
Do you speak English with them, with your wife and your son?
With my son, I try to speak English with him sometimes. So
Does he like? Does he like?
yeah, he likes. Sometimes he's a little bit,
Yeah, but that's
uh,
normal because yeah, it's the same that us. So at some point of our life, we took the decision that okay, I want to learn English. I want to do this. So yeah, we have
here's
classes.
the thing. He doesn't have a motivation to do it. I think when you
Okay.
have a motivation, it's so much better. We watch short clips,
Yes.
and then I can explain the vocabulary, I can explain everything. And he starts to improve his English because of this little, you know,
Do
this
you
little tip.
use closed captions when you watch movies?
I use sometimes, if I am in a student mode, I take off the subtitles, and then I start to watch without. Uh, then I go back to the beginning and watch with subtitles until I get what I am
Yes.
watching. But
Yeah.
sometimes when I just want to relax my mind, I watch it with subtitles too, because it's more easy. So it depends on my mood.
Yes, I understand. So I would like to ask you three advices that you can give to teachers.
To teachers.
Yes, English teachers.
Okay. First, I think every teacher should challenge their students to do something hard, something difficult. Because if you are teaching and you are just teaching the students and they don't have like, I have a, I like to make this comparison. If you are just learning English, learning vocabulary, learning expressions, but you don't challenge yourself, you don't have the chance to be challenged. I would say that you are swimming in a swimming pool. It's easy, it's comfortable, but you won't become a good swimmer because there is
Yes.
it's limited. Okay, but if you go to the ocean and start to swim in the ocean with sharks, it's dangerous, it's deep. So when you do that, everything becomes more easy for you. So I don't see a lot of English teachers doing that. I don't see a lot of English teachers challenge their students to do something great, something big, something difficult. And I think this is the first thing an English teacher should do. And it's not about English, because a lot of teachers think I need to teach, but sometimes you just need to encourage them,
Yes.
and because they already have a lot of knowledge about English. So this is the first thing. The second one, I don't know, maybe you should focus less in grammar, less in technical things, and more in speaking, more in
Understand.
motivation, more
Yes.
encouraging them. And it's in my
Less
opinion,
grammar.
it's
Hmm.
even more
Hmm.
important than grammar. Of course, uh, you need grammar. It's impossible to speak English without grammar, but you can learn grammar without studying grammar. I think
Yes.
like that. And it's a good, for me it was a good way to learn grammar without studying directly. So I think English teachers should uh, teach less grammar and more uh, other things, more encouragement, more mindset. That's so important.
Okay.
And you asked for three. It's not easy
Yes.
to find three.
No, and you know,
Three
I
tips.
really like to ask this question is because when you were a student and you just remember that the only thing that you learned at school was the to be verb, and then when you are going to speak, you forget the s when you are talking about the it or the he or the she. So something we need to change something. So if we really want, like, because time is precious, even if you are a kid.
And now I have a third one. I remember something that's so important. You need to know how to correct your students in a good way, because if you do this in a rude way or in a way that I don't receive as a positive feedback, I will be more shy, I will be more quiet, and I won't improve. So if you're an English teacher and you want your students improve, you need to know how to correct them in a good way. Because if you do it in a wrong way, you will kill their English.
And what about for the student? Like three advices for students.
First one, work more in your confidence than in your English. Of course, you need to study. Of course, you need to learn vocabulary. You need to learn expressions. You need to learn everything. But if you don't develop your mindset, if you don't develop your confidence, you won't speak. This is the truth. So the first one is work more in yourself, like in your mentality, in your mindset, and find a way to get motivated, find a way to get to gain confidence to speak. First thing. The second one, the same. Don't focus on grammar so much. Don't focus in technical things so much. Be more free. Think that English is a tool, and you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be 100% accurate. You need to use the language. Of course, you need to improve. You don't want to continue to make the same mistake again and again and again for forever. But you need to do something to even you're not perfect, do it. If you're not 100% sure about something, do it. That's the third one, as I always like to say, challenge yourself as much you can. Do hard things. Don't be afraid of challenges. Challenges are a good opportunity to grow. So every time and when you do a big challenge, it's impossible you don't increase your skills after that, because challenges make us more vulnerable in some way. So when you notice that I overcome something here, it's magical. You start to improve. I don't know why, but something changed here when you do this type of things. And when I'm saying challenge yourself, I'm speaking about if you record videos every day, this is not a challenge anymore. So do something else more. So challenge yourself as much you can.
Yeah.
And I think you will improve your English for sure.
Fred, what do you like to learn? So when you start like doing podcasts, I think so you start watching videos and stuff about podcasts. Yes.
Yeah.
But right now, what do you like to learn? So why are you in?
It's a good question. It's a good question. Actually, right now I'm looking forward to help people in a deep way, So I want to learn how can I do that? How can I do that more in a good way? How can I help people to improve their English? Of course, my podcast is for this reason. I created to help people to gain confidence, speak English with confidence. And now I'm trying to learn something to do that in a professional way. I'm thinking I will start an English speaking club just for create a community and help people in a different way. So I use my experience since 2019 helping people, and see people evolving and progressing. So right now I'm learning something about this, about, how can I serve people in a better way.
What are your influencers? So when you create content or when you, I don't know, for your life, so do you read, do you follow some guy?
So in the English environment, I inspire myself in Hadar and Tiffany. About podcasting, I have a lot of in Brazil. We have good podcasters here, so I watch them just to see how they do things, how they ask questions, how they handle with the situation to interview somebody. And one of them is called Flow Podcast. Is the biggest podcast in Brazil, and yeah, I think that those are my main inspiration to produce content. And of course, every
When you search for videos or for content, so do you do in English or in Portuguese? In
normal
Portuguese.
in English. Normal, I
Mm.
do it in English because we have more content in English than Portuguese. But of course, sometimes I found a video in Spanish that helps me. So, but it's mostly in English.
Okay, and this is a really good question for me. I would love to your answer. I would love to hear your answer. How was your life before English and your life after English?
Wow. I would say that there is a thread before English and a thread after English. Personally, professionally, and as as a father, as a husband, just because before English I was not confident at all. Since I was a child, I was very shy. I was my main I was terrified to speak in public. I suck at that. I was that kid that sit in the front row at school and didn't talk to nobody. Very, very focused in studying, very focusing to be a good person, but I didn't socialize with nobody. I was like in my own bubble. you know and when I start to study languages, not just English but languages, I noticed that I could speak, I could communicate myself. So I became a better communicator because of English, because of languages. And then I think this helped me to be uh, a better husband because I can communicate better with my wife, a better father because I can communicate better with my son, a better professional because if you are a business person, you need to communicate yourself in a good way. You need to know how to persuade people to sell something. You need to, and English and languages help me to be like a better communicator, to know how can influence people, how can communicate with them, how can socialize with them. So right now I have friends from all over the world, people from everywhere. I have contact with. I talk to them. I'm in touch with other cultures and everything. So I think English changed my life. This is the truth. I can say that English in languages. I think English changed my life. This is the truth. I can say that English in languages changed my life forever. And that right now I'm doing something that I never expect before. Like those that know me from since I was a kid and see me speaking in a podcast, for sure they would be surprised because I was so shy. The first time I grabbed a microphone to speak, it was terrible. It was at the church. I think I had about 10 years old or 8 years old. I can't remember, but I was a kid. And one of my teachers, my favorite teacher, she asked me, Fred, could you read at the church? Could you read just a verse of the Bible? And I was so shy that I was I was afraid to say no to her, and then okay, I'll do it. But I don't want to do it. I just did it because I don't want to say no. And then I went to to the church to do it. And funny story, when I was ready to start, I didn't. It was my first time with a microphone. I didn't notice that the microphone was like this, so close to my mouth. And then I started to read and everybody was like not paying attention. It was just talking to each other there, but the church was full of people. I don't remember if it was a special celebration. I can't remember, but it was full of people. And that little boy start to speak close to the microphone. And when I start to speak, the microphone said a big noise because it was so close to my mouth. And everybody in that church
doing everything.
Stop to talk and look at me. My heart, I swear, my heart, I thought my heart was
going to explode.
Almost explode. Yeah, I feel my heart here. You know, man, I never feel that
close
that
to
again.
The microphone.
No, I never feel that again that way. I thought if I was like if I was in the age I am right now, I had a heart attack. I'm sure about this. It was so bad. It was trauma for me. I after that I got like, oh, speaking in public is not for me at all. So it was a traumatic situation. So this is
I love that you came from hate to love. So the same with English. You said like you hate English and now you love English. So you hate microphone and now you love microphone. That's wonderful.
So I think this is sorry. I think this is just because when you are helping somebody, it's not about yourself, it's about others. You have a purpose, when you have a purpose, things happen and you can do something that and you enjoy what you are doing. So I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay, so before we finish, when are you planning to come into US? So you need to come fast, like close, like short time.
Oh, I have been thinking about this for a long time. I would love to do that, and I think I need to go to the American because I need to use my English, in a place that everybody speaking English.
Yeah.
And I would love to do that.
You will enjoy that experience. You will.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I have this plan, but I don't have a date yet. So I don't have.
Okay. You just need to put a date. Remember, when you visualize, when you put you set your goals, you need to have a date. So that's important. Just put it on the calendar. It's not just one day, no, or this year, no. When? Okay.
Exactly. So, I think this is so important. Thank you.
And you have a new friend here. So you're very welcome to Jupiter. Okay. So
where you are in the US?
In Jupiter, Florida. In Florida.
Oh, I never heard about this city.
Yeah. Yeah. When I knew about this city, I was thinking like people were joking about Jupiter. I said, okay. And now it's fun because I work for El Sol. It's a nonprofit organization. So I work for El Sol and I live in Jupiter. So I'm in the perfect place.
Interesting. Interesting.
It is.
I'm thinking about your friends when you said, I will live in Jupiter. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and I laugh. And I said, hey, come on, tell me. So where do you live? In Jupiter? Jupiter. Okay. Yes. The last thing, do you want to tell us a little bit more about, or how can people join your challenge?
Okay. Well, if you want to know more about me and about my job as a content creator, you can go to Silva Cast on YouTube and Silva Cast on Instagram.
That's great. That's great. No, thank you. It was I felt like I love this. I love doing this. I feel like I have a new friend, and it's like we're just drinking some coffee and enjoying and learning, because every time that we listen another person, you learn. So thank you. Thank you for this interview. And I hope to see you soon.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you. So I'll see each other in another opportunity. And thanks again for inviting me.
You're welcome.